Joining me now here on the Rich Eisen Show is the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl winning head coach, Andy Reid. How are you?
I'm
And
doing good, Rich. Thanks. Yeah.
first time I ever introduced you that way. That's been a long
Yeah.
time coming. A long time.
Yeah. No, it's exciting. Yeah.
How is how has life changed for you? Obviously, we're living in unique times, but before all that and during all this, that you've reached your professional pinnacle in that regard finally after a long wait. How has that changed things for you?
Yeah. I told my wife, I said, here we've been doing it a long time. And a lot of the guys we've been together for a long time here, coaches. And so we've got like 221 wins. And all of a sudden that 222nd win, 4 hours of football, all of a sudden changes kind of everybody's perspective of things and about you, and the organization. And it's a neat deal. The thing is, once you taste it, then you want to get back. So like every coach, we're shooting for this thing, but it even adds a little bit more to it after you've been there.
Now, it's funny you say 4 hours of football. You could even just say one quarter of football, right? I mean,
Yeah,
about that
literally.
fourth quarter, right? And how things turned around. One of the most remarkable things that I saw based off of all that, coach, was when it was time to draw up the play that turned things around.
The
Um,
Wasp.
yeah, the Wasp. And just to see how Patrick Mahomes was the one who suggested it, and your offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy going through it with him, and then just saying, "Yeah, let's do it." And it's something that was kind of a reversal on the field of what you had run against New England, right? In a big regular season game. Walk me through how you set things up for you as a coach and as a decision maker. How organically things like that can develop.
Yeah, well, it's funny because we'd been talking about that the few series before that, really all the second half was, listen, if we get an opportunity where we felt protection was good enough, you heard Patrick actually say, do we have enough time to throw the thing?
Right.
And so we were kind of working in that realm, and we had talked about it. We had just talked about it before we went on the field, and so between Eric, myself, and Pat and Mike Kafka, we were all on the same page. We were all kind of thinking the same thing, and so we called it. And his biggest worry was just that he had enough time. He talked to Tyreek and just said, "Hey, make sure you keep running on this thing because it's going to be there." We had run a play that we called the bolt before that, and a little bit before that in the game, and so this is just a complimentary play to that, and it ended up working. I mean, we got the right coverage for it, and their corner kind of snagged the dagger route on the outside. But to get back to your point, is we have full trust in it, everybody. That's the important thing. And with Patrick, you feel comfortable talking to him about things and bouncing things off of him. It's open communication. And I think if you ask Eric Bieniemy, he'd tell you the same thing.
Well, in terms of Bieniemy, I'd like to just linger on him for a moment, and who he is, and the opportunities that he really is on the cusp, one would hope, of getting, and the conversation about the Rooney Rule being strengthened in recent days. I'm wondering what you could tell me about Eric's ascension in your ranks and his readiness, you think?
Yeah, so I had Eric as a player way back when. It was my first year at Philadelphia, and he came in and kind of helped me get that thing going there as a player. And then I was able to hire him, and I even go further back. I was there on the fifth down. I was at Missouri when he was at Colorado when it took him 5 downs to beat us, which well, I'm still better at it. But anyways, he goes and he jumps in the NFL. He's with the Minnesota Vikings as a coach. I was so happy that he decided to be a coach because he was that way as a player. And then ends up going and being the coordinator at Colorado at his alma mater, and then UCLA also. I had a chance to coach there, and then all of a sudden he's back in the NFL. I'm able to hire him and get him back in there. It was a no-brainer. But you always knew that he knew everything. I mean, he knew everything about everything. So when I had a chance to make him the coordinator, again, that was an easy decision. And it's just hard. I think it's hard when you're in the playoffs as much as we are, and and these owners want to bring you in and talk to you. They're only going to get a little taste of Eric Bieniemy, and then they've got to make a decision. You can't spend a lot of time because we're asking them to come back and coach, and they've got a couple hours with them, and you can't get the full picture of him, the leadership of his leadership of men, how he makes everybody around him better, tougher. Uh, he makes them toe the line on and be diligent with their studies, and all these little things that we see day in and day out, and the players see day in and day out, that we just know that he's going to be very successful as a head football coach. But again, it's no fault of anybody. It's just that somebody's going to have to trust, and that these are the things that take place with him, and they're things that they might not see in a 2-hour interview or whatever, that we see.
Andy Reid here on the Rich Eisen Show, and then Mahomes. Just the memories. It's not too long ago. Obviously, he's still a young kid. He's been in the league only for a couple of years as a starter. MVP of the league 1 year as a starter, and then the second year as a starter, MVP of the Super Bowl. But the memories of you just sitting next to Mahomes, just sitting right next to him as soon as he comes off the field, just chit chatting. How do you think that helped his development and did lead to the guy who's like, let's use the Wasp, in the fourth quarter of a Super Bowl, trying to turn things around?
Yeah, listen, it's a trust thing. I know he wants to be the best. He's not going to sit there and boast about that and tell people, but he wants to maximize all of his potential. As a coach, you love that. So he wants you to give him one more thing to even be greater than what he already is, and you can appreciate that. So that opens up. He trusts myself and Eric and Mike as teachers, and we trust when he brings us something. It's there. Now I have to, myself and Eric have to make that final decision on what we do, but at the same time, to have a team and to have that again, that trust becomes a very important thing. And he's got the trust of his teammates too, which is huge. That's a big part of it. Your quarterback's got to be kind of a in between guy. He's got to be able to transmit to the players and also to the coaches and really to the administration of your organization. And he's able to walk all of those paths and do it very smooth and with great intelligence, and his demeanor is a special thing. So he's going to do nothing but get better, Rich. That's what's so great.
I know it's
Yeah,
crazy. It's crazy, right? I
yeah,
mean, what
yeah.
does he have to improve on, Andy? What do you think?
Well, I joke him. I say, listen, quarterbacking is a lot like being a farmer. Like the work's never done. There's something in the game that you can work on, and then it's our responsibility to give them new challenges. And so there's so much you can do offensively in football right now, and there no there's no rules as far as there. I mean, there's certain rules. We still got to stop at red lights, but it's there's a lot of ways to get to it. So um, the the expansion, I guess, of offenses with the way the colleges are playing now is greater than it's ever been, and we're able to utilize more field than we've ever used. And so let's explore that, and let's not say anything's impossible until we prove it's impossible ourselves. Let's try that, and then we'll see where we end up. Who knows? But he's all in on that kind of thinking, and he doesn't put a lot of blinders on his game. I give so much credit to Alex when he was here, Alex Smith, just for the job that he did on letting him understand that. Understand that, okay, you've got talent. Let's see where it ends. Let's not be afraid to go there and see where we can get this thing and explore that. And Alex was great with that.
So now, in terms of exploring and not being afraid, 4th and 15 with a game on the line, needing a possession, it seems that's going to be in your repertoire as a head coach now, with
Yeah.
the alternative onside kick. You like this?
This is my thing. I know we can do it. I mean, I'm comfortable with doing it. I'm a little bit of a traditionalist in some ways, because I think this can lead a little bit down the road to where all of a sudden you start kicking out the kickoff return and kickoff. And I've got talented players for that particular phase of the game, and I got the best, or at least one of the best, and possibly in the history of the game, coaches in Dave Tope. So um, I like to be able to exploit that area with it, and I guess you still can, depending on how this rule goes through, um, with a different phase. But at one time, we onside kicked all the time, and we didn't really care if it was beginning of the game or whenever. When I was in Philadelphia, they've kind of restricted the rules on that a little bit to where the onside kick isn't quite um, as easy to do. I think it's 11% production on that. So
So you
it's
know the math there. So maybe you do the math on a 4th and 15 with
yeah,
Mahomes.
that's in the 30s. You're right about 30%.
So
So you're still
that's what I'm
pretty,
saying. You do the math, and I'm wondering, would you ever do the math and figure out it would be worth your while to steal a possession? So you're up and you go for it on 4th and 15 just to keep the ball?
yeah, that would be, I think, you'd have to evaluate that, but I haven't got that far with it. But if you don't get it, you got to look at that side too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you got
You
pretty
have
poor field.
Mahomes, though. You've got
Yeah,
Mahomes, though.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point, Rich.
You
I'll
know,
let you make that call and then deal with it afterwards.
well, I mean, I can go up and just say, you could basically say Rich Eisen told me I've got Mahomes, and then say time's yours. That's what you
That's
say to
right.
them.
Time's yours,
Time's yours.
baby.
That's-
Yeah. Huh.
then you just say that. But again, it's just an interesting. It's funny you say there's no rules. I mean, shoot, you used a play from what, the 1940s Rose Bowl during the Super Bowl, right? I mean,
Yeah, that was a fun one.
where you can ever get something like that.
Well, you know what? It's weird. I mean, it's crazy how that works. So I somehow in my file of tape, I got that tape a while back,
Mhm.
and I looked at it, and I'm going, man, this is unbelievable. Some of the stuff they were doing, and so and then by chance, this past summer, I went to a function with my old high school coaches, and back in Los Angeles, and my the offensive coordinator that we had in high school hands me a tape, and he goes, "This is the '48 Rose Bowl." I had the '49 one. He goes, "This is '48 Rose Bowl. Coach Dean Dill was the quarterback for SC in this game." So I go, "Oh wow, that's pretty amazing." And so I went through it and looked at it, and it was the same stuff. I mean, it was the same plays, and I go, "Oh man, this is going in." I mean, we got to put a couple of these plays in. These are incredible plays. So we had a couple of them. We practiced them all season. I reminded the officials all year that, listen, we're going to line up the quarterback here. We're going to spin around. We're going to do, but it's going to be a dive. That's what the plays can end up being. We're legal. And then uh, of all the games to forget to tell them, I didn't tell them in the Super Bowl. I didn't have a chance before they were heading for the door,
Right.
and um, one of the officials goes, "Listen, I've done your last 3 games, 3 or 4 games." He goes, "Are you still running that play from the Rose Bowl?" I go, "Oh, absolutely. We're running it today." And he goes, "You still haven't run that?" I said, "No, we haven't run it. So it's coming. It's coming." Right? Like, so, anyways, that's
And then you uncork it. I think Travis Kelsey told me that it took a while for, was it Mahomes that he couldn't get his footwork down or something like that? He said it took a long time for.
no, it wasn't Mahomes. It was Sammy.
That's what
Sammy's got size 13 or 14 shoes,
right.
and his ability to spin,
It's what it
yeah,
was.
it's not good. He can do everything as a wide receiver that, I mean, he's as good as can be, but to spin around. So I figure he's probably not a very good dancer, but
Hey, he's got a ring
we,
on his finger, just like you.
that's right.
I
That's
guess
right.
before I let you go, I'll ask you the $64,000 question everybody's been asking: is there going to be a season? And I know you're not a public health expert; you're a football coach, but you're on the front lines of trying to figure out the controllables. I'm sure, and in this most uncontrollable of environment, what do you think, Coach?
Yeah, so I'm going forward. Like that's what we're having. We've put training camp together. We've got it all set up, and there have been some new rules with the new CBA that we've had to work our way through. And I talked to Eric and Spags and Tobe about it. And I said, listen, even if we don't have it or we have to rearrange it, then we go through and we can do that. But with the new CBA, we can use this going down the road, this format, and so that's how we've gone about it, gone so far with it. And if there's some changes, we'll change. And I presume there's going to be a season. I think once the weather warms up here and the science part of the game of the disease get worked out, then we'll be in a pretty good situation, and hopefully be able to get some fans back in the stands and kind of get things going again, and keep it normal and positive.
Yeah.
So um, that's how I'm looking at it. My heart goes out to all these people that have had to deal with this son of a gun. I mean, physically dealt with it, and it's just been a shame. And the people that passed away, I mean, it's terrible. But I mean, here we sit, and going forward, I'm gonna try to keep it as positive as I can with you on that, so that
No, I hear you.
we go forward and let's play a little football.
Of course, and people could get maybe a little bit of a break from it, or throw themselves into a season. I know so many fans have waited for 50 years to finally get the feeling that you were able to provide for them, and that's obviously something that everybody in the NFL takes very seriously. In the meantime, you were sheltered in place for the draft. I'll be honest with you, we on our show really got a big kick out of your setup at home, Coach. Looked like a basement. Is this the room that you were in?
Yeah, this is it. It
Okay.
kind of looks like I've got a glorified Michigan helmet on, right?
Yep, yeah, yes, those
This is
beams
it.
do look
Yeah,
that way.
or I look like the Statue of Liberty. But that's it right
No,
there.
but that also means there's a Stairmaster there, right?
Yeah, it's right behind me. I'm hiding it from you.
Okay.
I'm also hiding it from myself. No, I'm not. I do get on that thing and try to crank it out.
Okay,
So
because we were wondering. We thought it was very interesting. The photograph that was out there was a towel placed on it, made it look like it was freshly used, and we were just wondering
yeah,
what
yeah.
the
Believe it or not, I get on that thing and it talks to me. We have a relationship. That thing, and it,
what does it
it
say to you? What does it say to you?
well, it's like the last 15 minutes. It's not good. It really talks dirty to me, and it's terrible. So I can't say that on radio here
Okay,
or TV, whatever on this chat here.
it's all good.
Yeah.
It's multi-purpose. It's
Yes.
kind of like your offense, Coach. Appreciate the time. Best to you and your family.
All right, Rich. Likewise, man. I appreciate you. Thank you.
You got it right back at you. That's Andy Reid, Super Bowl winning head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, right here on the Rich Eisen Show.